All right. Good Lord. It's not a generally nerdy stream without some sort of technical difficulties. And we had a plethora of them as we are starting 15 minutes later than I wanted to. So, welcome everybody! You know, don't forget to do the thing. Also, you know, don't forget that we have other stuff and things, specifically the Music Nerd shirt. You can go get yours at the link in the description. I think I'm going to turn this microphone up a little bit. Looks like it's a little low in the mix. Oh, we'll mute that. There we go. All right. That's yeah, Generally Nerdy merch store. Go get your Music Nerd shirt. Wear it to, you know, outings, concerts, just general gatherings with friends. And also, before we get out of here with all of the required bits, don't forget to check out DUBBY.gg for all of your energy drink needs. They are a partner with the channel. I'm going to mess with this microphone a little bit more. Partner with the channel. And, you know, they do a lot of good stuff. I actually had a double shot of the s'mores this morning. So, it's delicious. It's vitamins and stuff, so you could argue that it's nutritious. I'm not a doctor, though, so don't take my word for it. Good energy drink. Not the highest in the caffeine, but definitely a lot better than most, and a lot better as far as, like, the things they put in there that help you focus and do all of the things. So, go check out DUBBY.gg. Use code GenerallyNerdy at checkout, and you can get your 10% off of your entire cart. Do all of that. I get a kickback. You get some great merch. And Dubby sells some things and stuff. So, I did poor prep for tonight. Sorry, I am in the middle of packing for a Vegas trip, because I am being sent by my restaurant, the company that owns my restaurant, to Vegas for a training. So that's exciting, but also a little ridiculous. So first things first, I guess we can do this. First things first, I want to talk about the Odyssey. So I'm just going to get the Odyssey trailer playing in the background. We'll put it on loop, and then we'll talk about all of the stuff. We are having some loading issues. Goodness. Let's switch that. Let me just go look up the Odyssey. Odyssey trailer. Most recent trailer, sure. All right. So, that's not the window I wanted. That's the window I wanted. So, talking about the Odyssey.
Tell me what you remember.
I mean, it was really good.
The wife?
It's been a long, long time since I read
A son.
And then what?
We want
that's
more.
very loud. I'm sorry. Woo, that was very loud. Okay, so it was really good. It's been a very long time since I have read the Odyssey. It's been a very, very long time since I've done any sort of studying. So I remembered a few of the bigger points in it. I also remembered it being a little bit more, there being more of the subplots that you go through. It is an epic after all. Talking about the issues, so considering the place in the world and the time, Like, I understand the issues with the casting choices of certain people. I did see a scholarly analysis of that element, and the ancient Greek scholar, I can't remember his name. It was on, I think it was on Pierce Morgan, actually. So if you want to go look up the Pierce Morgan episode where he's talking to like Nerdrotic and the Critical Drinker, and then he also talks about a couple of, or talks with rather a couple of. He talks with a Plato scholar, and then he talks, or a Plato. Oh man, a Homer scholar, and then he also talks with a Greek scholar. I'm pretty sure we're the two experts, right? And the Greek guy was like, I mean, it wouldn't have been super uncommon for there to be people with dark skin in ancient Greece. Like, that's not exactly out of the question. Was Helen of Troy a darker complexion? Yeah, no, not at all. But so that remains to be an issue with the casting. But, and also he made the point of it being peculiar that they would do casting just for the sake of subversion, not for any other purpose rather than to be subversive. Which has been kind of my point this entire time, is the only reason they cast most of these people that they knew fans would have issue with is because of the subversive element. And the biggest thing I think with that is that doesn't serve the plot. So there's no reason other than just trying to elicit negative reactions to do the thing. Our trailer has died, so let's get it back up. I don't know how to loop playback on YouTube. I feel like I should know that, but I don't. So let me see if I can. Nope, there's nothing I can do. Whatever. Let's do playback speed at slower, shall we? Yeah, half speed. Okay. So anyway, so going along with that, like that is exactly as it always has been. Like there's just issue with the fact that they only cast certain people because they knew it would be subversive. The other interesting casting choice was that there's no one of Greek descent on this cast. There's literally, so like this is a Greek historical fiction, like one of the most famous pieces of literature of all time, and there's nobody from the area in which this story takes place. It's a little insane that you would do that if you were trying to be as diverse as possible. Like, you would actively seek out somebody who looks like they could be from this area of the world in this approximate time frame. And they actively did not do that, which I think is very strange. But these are all things that we've already talked about. This is already a conversation we've already had. There's nothing new here to discuss aside from, they pulled it off. The piece that's new here is we got. I'm gonna go look up the cast so I don't get anybody's names wrong, but we got a really good movie out of the deal. Like, really, really good. It's one of those movies. I mean, it's Christopher Nolan. I'm a Christopher Nolan fan anyway. I liked Tenet. I don't know about you, but I liked Tenet. I go to the cast. Wikipedia. So I mean, I knew it was going to be at least watchable, even despite the casting announcements and the interesting choices therein. But I didn't expect to enjoy it as thoroughly as I did. So we have, I don't remember. Oh yeah, we have Elliot Page as Sinan, who is Sinan is not in, or Sinan, however you say it, is not in the original story. This is somebody who was told, who's in subsequent stories that take place at the same time and play off of Homer's original tale. So that was an interesting addition, but it worked. Say what you will about the casting of Elliot Page. Say what you will about Elliot Page in general. It's a relatively small part as far as like the performance of Elliot Page, and honestly, most of that performance you get after the character has died, and which was a really interesting freaking scene, and I feel like Elliot Page pulled it off, so there's no issue with that. It is still interesting casting, but like, Elliot Page is a pretty decent actor. I said that about them when they used the name Ellen Page. So it's the personal politics and however you view their life decisions aside, like, that doesn't change the fact that they're a good artist, right? Like, separating the art from the artist, I think Elliot Page is a pretty good artist. So, and even worst case scenario, it was only a couple of minutes of screen time. There was not a quintessential, it was not a pivotal role in the movie. It was not, this character was not, didn't like change the direction of the story really in any way. I've seen some other headlines. I haven't read the articles yet about how other philosophers, historians and such say that Homer would be ashamed or something along those lines, would spit on the presentation of his work, or it's all edgelord nonsense to cover up the fact that they're just trying to be as divisive as possible in order to get clicks or views or both. So you break it down to brass tacks, was it a good movie? That is the argument that should always be made. Was it well done? It's Christopher Nolan. It's an incredibly star-studded cast, and not just star-studded like people with faces. It's a star-studded cast of people who are very freaking talented doing the thing that they do. You have Matt Damon, obviously, Tom Holland, yes, and freaking phenomenal as Telemachus. I am so bad with these names. Again, no, his role is pretty pivotal. He is the son of Odysseus, after all. But like, plays the subtlety of that character so incredibly well. Like, all of the representations of this story that I've seen have been fairly ham-fisted, because most of them came from when I was in I think the first time I went through the Odyssey was middle school. So I saw, like, there's an animated version of it, and I'm pretty sure I saw that in middle school. And then in high school, pretty sure that's when I saw the 93 version of the story with I'm not going to remember the main actor's name. Whatever, it's not that important. But it came out in like 93. This is like light years beyond this. So this iteration of the movie is to the 93 version, which was not bad. The comparison though is Dune. 1984 Dune versus 2020. What was 2020 Dune? Is when the first movie came out. 2021 maybe. It's almost that dramatic. Maybe not quite, because 84 Dune was insane, but still, it is in the same league as that dramatic of a shift from the quality of this movie. And like, again, say what you will about Robert Pattinson. You just love to hate the guy in this movie. Lupita Nyong'o is in the movie for all of 2 minutes. as two separate characters, even because she plays Helen of Troy and Helen of Troy's twin sister, Clytemnestra, rather. Cersei, Samantha Morton did an incredible job, and we're going to get back to the Cersei stuff in just a second. John Leguizamo is a great actor, again, in spite of what you may or may not think about his personal politics. Zendaya is more than sufficient as an actor, and she's, again, in this fairly minorly. I think there's another interesting casting choice here, and that is Calypso. Every other time in modern iterations of ancient mythology, this character has been cast as a black woman. So the fact that they went the opposite direction with Calypso is very interesting. John Barenthal is always a win. I don't think I've seen anything John Barenthal's been in and been, maybe he didn't need to be in that movie because he's just great. So and then Himesh Patel also does an incredible job. I think kind of he looks closest to maybe being from the time and geographical location to anyone else in the cast, but that is a side note. That is just for the clicks. The quality of the storytelling, the quality of the cinematography, which was epic. If you look at, and I know our thing has died. Yeah, it definitely died. So we'll replay it again. But if you look at, I'm sure there's... Oh, we'll get to this part in a minute too. But the giants... Oh, come on. Where's the giants? Right there. So you get to the giants. And let's talk about the cinematography here, because there's a lot of practical effects in this movie. There's some digital, of course, it's a modern movie. So of course they're going to cut some corners and use digital for certain reasons. But there is a lot of practical effects. So they got legitimately very tall men to play these giants, and then they got very small people to play the soldiers here that we're following. So you see a lot of shots where you don't see the soldiers' faces because it's body doubles. And the body double for Matt Damon was a little woman who apparently had gigantic arms, and it freaking works. The thing that I feel like needs the most praise about this movie is the dynamic of genre switching almost that it does. So when you get to, it feels fairly normal. Again, if you've never read the Odyssey and you don't know what's coming, it feels like a period piece movie, right? It feels like this is just regular storytelling and they put it in ancient Greece. Then you get to the Cyclops scene, and you're expecting something a little monster movie-esque, right? Kind of also over the top and cheesy, and you don't get that. Definitely horror, because we go from ancient period piece to a horror movie, which is intense. And then when we get to the Cersei scene, which I don't think is in the trailer, but when we get to the Cersei scene and she's turning them into pigs, again, we switch genres into horror, and this time it's body horror, and oh my god, is it effective. There were these two scenes, very specific, these two sections of the movie, very specifically felt very dark, even to someone like myself who really enjoys dark things like that. This felt ominous. This felt... needlessly dark almost, because the rest of the movie is so Odysseus and all of the things, all the stuff going on. So, it's just super interesting that Christopher Nolan is this very mainstream, very well-to-do movie maker, director, and he has the range, he has the ability to do something so dramatically different from where the movie starts to where the movie ends. You go through this ride of, we have the tale of these soldiers trying to get home. We have the tale of Odysseus trying to save his soldiers. We have all of these other subplots that work, that pay off. You get satisfaction by the end of this movie, and I absolutely think it deserves all of the billions of dollars that it's going to make. I, in spite of the questionable casting decisions that we've seen. Like, it's definitely worth your time. I think that's kind of where we're going to just have to end the conversation for this. Ninja Rat, what's going on, Mr. Christopher? Hello, Lisa. What's going on, chat? I am doing well, Chris. How are you, sir? I am starting to get back into something resembling a regular cadence for the channel, so I'm very excited about that. We do have a couple of news pieces that we're going to go into, so let's get off of the Odyssey conversation. I thought it was great fun. I feel like there's a lot that can be learned from the dynamic way that Christopher Nolan tells a story, and I feel like this is just him flexing those muscles of being extra dynamic, like just telling us 5 different stories in one movie that all convalesce into one of the more epic fight scenes I've seen in a Greek movie, or in a Greek mythology movie, I guess. Like, it's not Eastern Promises shower scene epic as far as like effectiveness of fight scenes. It's not there's another one that I always pull out when we're talking about great fight scenes. It's not Born Supremacy, Matt Damon with the newspaper kind of epic fight scene. It's not quite to that level of awesome, but it's freaking awesome nonetheless. So yeah, absolutely. If you haven't seen it, you absolutely should. If you have seen it, maybe try and see it on IMAX, because I saw it on a large format screen and it was freaking impressive the entire way through. This legitimately has me so stoked for Dune, just because the scale of Dune 3 is going to be so much bigger. Like, this is just like the appetizer for that movie for me. So that's where we're at as far as the Odyssey goes. I said last week we were going to talk about it, so there, we talked about it. Let's talk now. What was... Spider-Man Brand New Day. We're not talking about the China box office because we don't care. We're not talking about Jared Leto getting accused of impropriety. We are talking about... Oh, do we want to talk about the spoilers? All right, chat. I'm going to leave this one up to you. Let's actually go in and make sure. Things and stuff and things there. All right, so let's... I think I'll hold off on the spoiler talk. We already know who Sadie Sink is playing. I'm not going to ruin that for anybody until next week, because then you'll at least have had the weekend to see the movie. I hopefully will get to see the movie before the weekend is over. So, yeah, we'll go into the first reactions. So we're looking at 90% critics rating on Rotten Tomatoes. So if you were a Kalshi better, you probably could have just made money, because the split was at 92. If it was 92 or higher, you would lose money. If it was below 92, you would gain money. So there's that. Secret survived the screening, but not the red carpet. Singer Steve Lacy spoils Sadie Sink's character during the premiere red carpet interview. Yeah, we know who she's gonna play. So I'm not going to get into that for anybody who maybe still wants to pretend like they don't know. We'll talk about that next week. So first reaction, Spider-Man Brand New Day are in, and they say it's Marvel has a monster hit on its hands. Marvel and Sony. Let's not forget, this is still a Sony property. Film held its world premiere in Hollywood on Monday night, and minutes after the screening ended, reactions started flooding into social media. THRs round up flatly and concluding that the movie is headed for monster hit territory. Blah, 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 blah. I think this might just all be, yeah. Steve Lacy, yeah, we're talking about the Sadie Sink thing again. 90% certified fresh. Reactions with the real money on the line. Brand New Day opens Friday, tracking at 180 to 190, the biggest opening of 2026. Best pre-sales in 5 years without IMAX, because IMAX is still being occupied by the Odyssey. So IMAX theaters are not a thing for Spider-Man. And then the next movie we're getting is Doomsday at the end of the year. So yeah, this is interesting. There's another Spider-Man piece that I wanted to talk about, and it was superhero fatigue. So the conversation about superhero fatigue and how, by and large, mainstream people who want to perpetuate the issues, the people who don't learn their lessons, I guess I should say, want us to think that... Which one is that? That's that one. Want us to think that it's not that they're telling bad stories, it's that people are just burnt out with hearing all these superhero stories. They don't want all these superhero nonsense on the screens. They're over it. Like, I mean, comic books have been around since for freaking ever. And we're still buying those because we still believe in the dynamic storytelling of comic books. So why would movies be any different when it's easier to digest? It's a shorter format. Like the idea of superhero fatigue is just ridiculous. It's bad storytelling fatigue. So we'll read update 3 first, because this one also deals with the sales and the hype around the machine. But China is now in on it. The market, Hollywood held up as proof the genre is dead. Just delivered the biggest superhero opening day in 7 years. Nearly matching the forecast for its entire weekend in one day. The audience never left, not even in Mandarin. So we'll get to the actual article. As is, Rap says Avengers Doomsday is up against a foe more daunting than Thanos, and that foe is audience fatigue. Again, let's learn our lessons, please. Wrong villain. Superhero fatigue doesn't exist. It never existed. Receipts disproving it are piling up this exact week in public with dollar signs attached. Spider-Man Brand New Day opens Friday, tracking at 180 to 190 million. We just talked about that. The biggest in 2026 is doing that with the best pre-sales in 5 years, despite being locked out of IMAX entirely. Avengers Doomsday cleared 16 million in day one ticket sales, selling nothing but premium format seats 5 months before it opens. Trailer did 500 million views in 24 hours, and remember, that is without the bump from the Super Bowl like Deadpool and Wolverine got, so that is extremely raw and organic views. Saturday night, supposedly exhausted audience staged a full-on revolt outside Hall H because they couldn't get into the Marvel panel. We will talk about San Diego Comic-Con here for a minute too. That's a fatigue epidemic. People fighting security to see more of it. The fatigue was always selective. This is the argument we've been having ever since anyone proposed the idea of superhero fatigue. Here's a tale of fatigue that was never real. It only ever showed up for bad movies. Quantumania, The Marvels, Love and Thunder, and Eternals underperformed, and the fatigue think pieces bloomed. Then No Way Home did 1.9 billion in the middle of a pandemic. Deadpool and Wolverine did 1.3 billion. Brand New Day is about to have the biggest opening of the year. Somehow the fatigue evaporated every single time. Fatigue doesn't check Rotten Tomatoes before deciding whether it exists. Audiences do. What people are tired of is garbage. They watched a run of bad movies, they got burned, and started waiting for proof of quality before buying tickets. That's not fatigue, that's a functioning market. That is how it's designed. On the freshest example, Supergirl just collapsed 76% on its second weekend. On its way to a $250 million loss the same month, Spider-Man pre-sales broke records. Same genre, same summer, same quote-unquote fatigued audience. The difference is the movie. Playing It Safe flopped too, and it cuts the other way as well, because garbage isn't the only thing audiences stopped paying for. So is Safe. Look at Marvel's 2025, Captain America, Brave New World, Thunderbolts, and Fantastic Four First Steps. Feige played it safe with all three middle-of-the-road movies designed not to offend, engineered not to take a single risk. All three underwhelmed at the box office. And there's the excuse me. And here's the part of the fatigue the crowd can't explain. There was never any buzz. No $500 million trailer, or 500 million view trailer, no pre-sale records, no fans rioting outside a panel. Nothing about them was ever tracking anywhere near Brand New Day and Doomsday are already doing right now, because audiences can smell, quote, good enough from a mile away, and they price it accordingly. Bad movies get rejected, safe movies get shrugged at. Even movies get lines around the block. Event movies, rather, get lines around the block. I mean, that's fair. I don't think we need to read the rest of the opinion, because we agree. Moving on. So that brings us into Comic-Con, Hall H. We have a weird piece to start off the Comic-Con discussion. Maybe we need to explore getting rid of Hall H. Was discussed this year. Hall H survived the wristband meltdown, might not survive Comic-Con's balance sheet. Per Forbes, Comic-Con Chief Communication and Strategy Officer David Glanzer dropped a bombshell at Sunday's Talkback panel, the annual forum where attendees air grievances directly at organizers. As fan after fan raised problems getting into Hall H, Glanzer floated the idea of eliminating the room altogether. Some context onto why that is even on the table. Hall H is not a real theater. It is a convention show floor that Comic-Con converts into one every year, because the building's biggest actual auditorium seats just 4,200 people. Every year, Comic-Con gives up the exhibitor revenue that floor space would generate in order to build the bigger venue. Maybe we need to explore getting rid of Hall H and going back to revenue generating, Glanzer said, per Forbes. Translating for fans, the room where Marvel, DC, and every major studio stage their biggest moments exists because Comic-Con chooses to lose money on it. And the organization is now wondering out loud whether that trade is still worth it. Money problems go further than floor space. Sponsorship revenue tied to signage on downtown hotels and buildings was down this year, per the report. Shrinking the budget from improvements like outdoor Wi-Fi, the exact infrastructure that would help fix the line management disasters that defined Saturday. Both Glanzer and Comic-Con board chair Robin Donlin publicly asked for a corporate sponsor to step up and fund the Wi-Fi. Read that again. The biggest pop culture convention on Earth is passing the hat for Wi-Fi while telling fans it does not have the resources to fix every problem. Glanzer said solving the space crunch will take time, money, and effort the organization simply does not have right now. Remember where this happened. The Talkback panel is where shutout fans went looking for answers after more than 500 wristband holders were turned away from Marvel's panel, and after Comic-Con's response contained no apology and no compensation. Fans at the same panel brought up the free badges Comic-Con handed out for the identical failure in 2017 and got nothing. Instead, the fans asking how Comic-Con planned to make Hall H right were told the organization might get rid of Hall H. Technically, that would solve the line problem. Glanzer's point about outgrowing the convention center in 2010 is also now clearly the official message, echoing the exact same framing from the no apology statement. The building is the villain, not the management of it. That's fair. Despite all of it, Comic-Con signed an agreement just before this year's show to stay in San Diego through 2030, per Forbes. Donlin also confirmed the 2028 convention will shift its dates to accommodate the Los Angeles Olympics, saying, "We took the dates we were offered." Killing Hall H would end the mega panel era as fans know it. Marvel just packed out that room with 7,000 fans in Doom masks for the Avengers Doomsday trailer and the Ryan Gosling Ghost Rider reveal, the Black Panther casting, and honestly a Deadpool reveal that they didn't fully understand until Ryan Reynolds started posting stuff onto social media. None of that fits in a 4,200 seat theater, and no studio spends Hall H money for half of the audience. If Comic-Con follows through, Saturday's meltdown would not just be Hall H's worst weekend, it would be the beginning of its last act. Oh, so what could be a solution to this problem is something that they do at Salt Lake Comic Con. I'm sorry, Fan X. And that is they have an arena next door where they do these larger panels. So when Shatner was here the same year that Luke Skywalker. Oh, my brain is dumb. Mark Hamill. There we go. Wow. So when Shatner and Hamill were here that year, they both had panels in the Vivint Theater, and it worked out just fine. There's far more than 4,200 seats, and there's far more than 7,000 seats in there. I think there's probably like 20 something thousand seats, if I'm guessing accurately. So I think that's a reasonable option. I'm sure there's something that is not too far away from the convention hall that they could do such things in for Hall H specifically when it comes to Marvel, DC, and such reveals. And again, it's been a little while since we talked about this on the channel, so I'll just refresh your memory. The difference between San Diego Comic-Con and New York Comic-Con and the rest of the convention world, as far as nerds are concerned, is that the organizers of all of the other conventions pay to have the actors and whatever else panels. They pay to put up these people in hotels for the weekend. They bring them to the convention. San Diego and New York, however, get paid by the studios because this is marketing for them. I'm sure there's a little bit, it's not quite that cut and dry with the other ones, especially the larger ones like Denver and Salt Lake, though Denver is definitely quickly losing size. Either way, for the most part, that's how it works. The broad strokes, that's what goes down. Is Disney will pay the people who put on San Diego Comic-Con or New York Comic-Con, depending, in order to advertise there. And their form of advertisement at comic book convention is their panel, is the big Hall H panel where they announce all the movies, drop all the trailers, and have everybody talk about it. So if they can find a way to get a larger arena for the Hall H panels, I'm sure they're going to do it because then they can make more money. Granted, that does require renting the larger arena, at least for a day when they can do those panels, but I seriously bet that is going to be akin to what they do as a solution to this problem. All right, there was something else in here. Oh yeah, the official reveal. Where are you? Since we are talking about the things. Oh, is it not? We don't have it in here. All right, well, whatever. We have the official. We talked about it last week. There's the fourth Deadpool movie. We saw Deadpool. We saw Gray Deadpool at Comic-Con. I saw somebody saying that it wasn't Gray Deadpool. It was Denim Deadpool because he's wearing a Canadian tuxedo. Either way, it's Gray Deadpool. Like, Ryan Reynolds doing silly things with denim is kind of a meta joke, but it's Gray Deadpool. We got the reveal that Ryan Gosling is going to be Ghost Rider. That's freaking epic. That was one of the rumors that we were talking about like a year and a half ago. There were obviously Keanu Reeves was a rumor as well. Let's go back a page. Keanu Reeves was rumored to be taking the role as well, but he obviously did not. We can get to the article right there. Keanu Reeves was also up to play Ghost Rider. We talked about this when it was originally rumored. If only... I don't know. I kind of dig the idea of Ryan Reynolds. I saw a really... or Ryan Gosling, rather. I saw a really interesting theory about Gosling being a different version of Ghost Rider and then having... Nicolas Cage come back as oh man, I'm brain farting names today. I apologize, nerds. Stuff and things. Yeah, so here's the reveal. Avengers Doomsday plot leak. Ghost Rider. Gosling fronting Star Wars Starfighter as Comic-Con news exclusive reported from Comic-Con floor. He's heavily involved in that movie in a Ryan Reynolds with Deadpool kind of way. Add Ghost Rider, and Gosling will be holding down lead roles in both Star Wars and Marvel at the same time, which no actor has ever done, which I think Gosling can handle. I think he's got the chops, man. I think that's pretty freaking cool. Yeah, Ryan Gosling's moment matching the energy of Robert Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doom reveal in 2024 is pretty accurate. It's just huge, man. It's freaking awesome. What else did we have in the thumbnail? I can't remember. Let's go look. Settings. No, that's not what I wanted. That's what I wanted. Let's take a look at the thing and the stuff and the things. Odyssey, Hall H, Spider-Man. We talked about all the big things. Okay, good. So I don't think there's any more small things to really discuss. I think that might be where we end it. Let's go back to the homepage and double check. James Gunn says the DCU Batman hasn't been cast yet. Okie dokie. That's something I've been saying for a long time, that everybody getting their hopes up to try and guess who Batman is early is going to be sorely disappointed when it actually happens. Odyssey translator, Emily Wilson, Torches. I would be ashamed. That was the thing. I don't care to read it, though. It was a good movie. I think that's where we're ending it, guys. Sorry, with all the ums and all the stuff. This is just where we naturally have come to an end. So, let's get back to this bit. Thank you once again to DUBBY for partnering with the channel, for channeling with the partner, for partnering with the channel. Go check out dubby.gg for all of your caffeine-related needs. If you have ever wanted to try one of the most dangerously delicious caffeinated energy drinks that you can find, the S'mores energy drink from DUBBY is something special. Let me tell you that right now. I had a double shot of it this morning, honestly. My other favorite on their lineup right now is the Tiger's Blood, is also quite delicious in a dangerous kind of way. Go check out dubby.gg. Use code GenerallyNerdy at checkout so that you can get your 10% discount. I can get a little bit of a kickback, and DUBBY then also can sell merch and stay in business, right? So that's the good thing about that. Then also we have the merch store. Go get your Music Nerd shirt. I will be rocking my Music Nerd shirt at some shows this month, actually. There's a couple of shows lined up that I'm super stoked to see. So go check out the merch store, link down in the description. You can get your Music Nerd shirt. And I think that's all the official nonsense. Thank you very much, nerds, for joining me. We will see you in the next one. Before we go, always remember that if it's generally nerdy,